Can you find the HCF of these four numbers in 5 seconds? Your time is up. If you are not able to find out, don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll be able to find the HCF of numbers in a few seconds. Let's get started with two simple numbers. HCF of 3 and 12. Now we first mark the smaller number. In this case, 3. We then have to check if the other numbers are multiples of 3. In our case, 12 is a multiple of 3. So we can easily mark 3 as our HCF. Next example, 5 and 40. First mark the smaller number, 5. 40 is a multiple of 5. So our HCF is 5 itself. Now let's move on to slightly larger numbers. HCF of 12 and 18. First, we mark the smaller number 12. Here, we also mark the difference between the two numbers. 18 minus 12, which is 6. Comparing 12 and 6, we find that 6 is smaller. So we can start checking using 6. Both our numbers 12 and 18 are multiples of 6. So the HCF of 12 and 18 can be marked easily as 6. Now let's find the HCF of 15 and 20. Smaller number is 15 and the difference between the two numbers is 5. So let's consider 5. Both the numbers in question 15 and 20 are multiples of 5. So the HCF is 5. Now let's move on to our next example. HCF of 8 and 20. The smaller number is 8 and the difference between the numbers is 12. So we start considering 8. But 20 is not a multiple of 8. So what we do in this case is we list down the factors of 8 in descending order. The factors are 8, 4, 2 and 1. Since we've already checked 8, we'll move on to the next factor 4. Our numbers in question 8 and 20 are both multiples of 4. Hence we can conclude that the HCF of 8 and 20 is 4. Let us now see another similar example. 14 and 35. The smaller number is 14 and the difference is 21. So let's consider 14. 35 is not a multiple of 14. So what we do next is to list down the factors of 14 in descending order. 14, 7, 2 and 1. Since 14 is already checked, let us start checking out 7. Both our numbers in question, 14 and 35, are multiples of 7. So our HCF is 7. Now let's check out what happens when we have more than two numbers. For example, let's find the HCF of 15, 40 and 75. The smallest of these three numbers is 15. Next, we need to find out the difference between the numbers. But since there are three numbers, we will have a total of 3 differences. And obviously, we are going to pick the smallest of all these differences. And as a general fact, the difference between the smallest and the largest number will always be bigger. So, we'll not be finding that out. Coming to our question. The difference between 40 and 15 is 25. And the difference between 75 and 40 is 35. Now comparing 15, 25 and 35, we can start considering 15. We can find that 75 is a multiple of 15, but 40 is not. So, we list down the factors of 15. So, the next highest factor is 5. And checking out our numbers, we find that all the three numbers in question are multiples of 5. So our HCF is 5. Let us see a few more examples for better understanding. HCF of 4, 12 and 40. Smallest of these is 4 and the differences are 8 and 28. Again, the smallest number is 4 and our numbers in question are all multiples of 4. Hence, the HCF of 4, 12 and 40 is 4. Next example, HCF of 12, 24 and 44. The smallest number is 12 and the differences are 12 and 20. Comparing all of them, we can start considering 12. 24 is a multiple of 12, but 44 is not a multiple of 12. So let's list down the factors of 12 and find out the second largest factor of 12, which is 6. Again we find that 44 is not a multiple of 6. So we go on to our next largest factor, which is 4. Now we can conclude that all the three numbers 12, 24 and 44 are multiples of 4. Hence, the HCF is 4. Now let's find out the HCF of 4 numbers 15, 25, 60 and 80. The smallest of them all is 15 and the differences are 10, 35 and 20. So we'll start considering 10. Here, though 60 and 80 are multiples of 10, 15 and 25 are not. So let's list down the factors of 10 and find the next largest factor, which is 5. Now we can see that all the 4 numbers 15, 25, 60 and 80 are multiples of 5. So the HCF of these numbers is 5. Next example, 42, 54, 60 and 90. The smallest of them all is 42 and the differences are 12, 6 and 30. So considering 6, we find that all the 4 numbers are multiples of 6. Hence, the HCF of 42, 54, 60 and 90 is 6. Now let's move on to our final example. Let us find the HCF of these 5 numbers. The smallest of them all is 24 and the differences are 14, 12, 4 and 18. The smallest of all these is 4. So let's check out if our numbers are multiples of 4. But only 24 and 72 are multiples of 4. The other 3 numbers are not. So we list down the factors of 4 and we find that the next largest factor is 2 and all our numbers are multiples of 2. Hence, the HCF of 24, 38, 50, 54 and 72 is 2. With some practice, you will be able to find the HCF of numbers in a few seconds without any tedious calculations. If you found this video worth watching, give it a like and share it with your friends to help them learn maths the amazing way. Thanks for watching.